Good afternoon. Thank you all for your work today. My name is Liz Moran. I'm the Water and Natural Resources Director with Environmental Advocates of New York. The mission of Environmental Advocates of New York is to make sure that the public of New York has the best quality air, water, and public health. I actually think I want to start by addressing the previous comments that were just made. So in the emerging contaminant monitoring legislation passed last year, it does state that every 3 years at least, the Department of Health is charged with reviewing the emerging contaminant list and determining if an MCL should be established. While we don't have an emerging contaminant list in New York State yet, I do hope that this means that you guys are planning to establish an MCL for 1,4-dioxane, PFOA, and PFOS. I think because of the contamination crises that we've seen in New York, it very clearly makes the case for establishing an MCL. So now that I've gotten there, I have some written comments. Commissioner Zucker, it was a pleasure to get to meet you today for the first time. Thank you so much for emphasizing that public health should come first and foremost as we evaluate these chemicals. I also had the opportunity to thank you earlier for the decision New York State made when it came to fracking. We've now gotten more science and more information that's come in that really shows that New York State has made the right decision when it came to fracking. And we did something there that's often referred to as the precautionary principle, that makes sure that until we have all the information, that we do the most protective thing first, and we don't, in this case, allow a practice that could harm New Yorkers' health. We think that the same approach should be applied here as well. We think it's very important that this body makes decisions that are the most protective of public health and the environment. So in that case, a conservative MCL for 1,4-dioxane, PFOA, PFOS, we think is urgent to address. It's what will be most protective of public health. There has been a lot of talk today about the costs of treatment, but there hasn't been that much talk about the cost to consumers, and by that I mean the cost to their health. Back in, I believe the last meeting was in November, there were a lot of folks that came here from Hoosick Falls, New York, which, as you've heard on numerous occasions, found themselves in the very unfortunate situation of having extraordinarily high levels of PFOA in their water and also PFOA in their blood. This has led a lot of people to get sick. And while it hasn't necessarily been directly linked with PFOA, a lot of people do have diseases that have been linked with PFOA exposure thanks to the C8 study. There are women that I've met who have suffered from preeclampsia, and their children have suffered lifelong consequences because of that. There are women that I have met that are currently going through medical treatment for thyroid disease. And then there are people I have met who have diseases that have not been linked with PFOA exposure, but those folks are scared because maybe the science just hasn't shown that it's been linked to that yet. My first day ever visiting Hoosick Falls, I ran into a woman who that day found out that she had a brain tumor, and she wouldn't say that it was linked to PFOA. She did not say that, but she said it made me question what happened here. And so there are tremendous costs associated with the health expenses of treatment. There are tremendous costs of the emotional labor that's put into people that find that they've been exposed to these diseases. So for all of these reasons, we think it's not only important to establish MCLs for these chemicals that you're looking at today, but we also need to begin testing for UCMR emerging contaminants statewide. The Department of Health had great testimony back in 2016 during the water quality hearings. At that time, you announced that a letter was sent to EPA calling on the EPA to close that loophole for communities that have fewer than 10,000 residents and require all of them to have testing for the UCMR chemicals. In the face of that, the department said that they would look to do so. We think it's urgent that the department does this as soon as possible, because as was stated in that same testimony, Hoosick Falls only found out about their contamination because a resident was smart enough and took the initiative to test his own water. That should not be the case ever again for any place in New York State. So we think it's extremely important that the department that uses the authority that was established during last year's budget season and begins testing statewide for UCMR emerging contaminants. We are very fearful that there could be communities that are in the same exact situation as Hoosick Falls, but don't know it yet. So in conclusion, I urge the department to use that authority as soon as possible, and I urge this body this council that is charged with coming up with recommendations for the Department of Health to urge them to do the same, to begin testing for emerging contaminants as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all the work that you are doing.